Alright, I don't know where to go. I'm just opening this door.
Fuck it, man.
Pova, tell us if it lets you back in.
I'll click start, then yes, many
Oh,
times.
guys,
Oh.
with the rapier. Haste me.
Oh, I've got a
He went
fireball
invisible.
charge.
I got him. I'm on him.
Duck.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Let's go! Let's go! Angels, I am super excited for today's video because I played an alpha test yesterday that was just an absolute blast. It's a high recommend from me, and right now the game, it's just a hell of a lot of fun. And it's not even in a beta phase yet. The game's called Dark and Darker. It's currently free to test for the next few days on Steam. Let's check it out. Dark and Darker is a PvPvE game that incorporates elements from those kind of Tarkov style games and elements from battle royales, except it's a medieval fantasy. You select one of 6 fantasy classes, grab 2 buddies, and then enter the Citadel, a hardcore and punishing dungeon with the goal of grabbing as much treasure as possible before extracting via portal. In the Citadel, you'll encounter PvE monsters from basic spiders and skeletons to boss tier wraith mobs that will absolutely destroy you. And of course, you gotta be wary of other treasure hunters, as up to 16 players spawn in the Citadel who are eager to kill you and take your loot. Making survival even tougher, I stepped on spike traps, was hit by swinging axe trap, and had the absolute shit scared out of me by a mimic chest that attacks you. What I'm getting at here is Dark and Darker is a pretty difficult game where death is around every corner, and where even the basic mobs can provide a challenge to an unwary adventurer. While progressing through the dungeon, an ever-closing ring will funnel you in deeper towards the center like a battle royale. Here you'll have decisions to make. Do you find a portal to extract back to base, or portal deeper into the dungeon for an even greater challenge but higher chance of reward? Upon surviving a raid, you can buy and sell items to a variety of different merchants to increase your chances of surviving the next adventure in the Citadel. There is a leveling system where you can choose what traits to run so that you can kind of tailor the character to your playstyle, and at some point there will be a skill tree implemented in-game to further differentiate characters. One of the things that gives me the greatest amount of hope for this game long term is that the developers are veterans of the industry who are disillusioned by the predatory systems in gaming today that care more about monetization than delivering a fun product. I agree with this sentiment, as I've hated almost every AAA game I've played over the last few years. They're all trash, and you can see a lot of that care and passion the developers have for the game right as you log in. The graphics and presentation are super clean and nice. I complimented the user interface a few times while streaming. It's very clean and visually appealing, while also being easy to navigate. I've played many early access games with MS Paint quality interfaces, so kudos to them for the attention to detail. In game, I think they did a great job of just creating atmosphere. The game is dark and terrifying, making you feel like death can come around any corner, and trust me, it does. The game is a total challenge. My party went from the highs of killing a group of fellow adventurers to being mobbed by an accidental pull of many zombies. I love the challenge of the game. We died a lot, and I think those highs and lows of emotions are what makes games like this so exciting and fun to play. Now, there were massive matchmaking issues as the game kind of blew up in player numbers, but I was able to look past this and still enjoy the absolute hell out of our runs in Citadel, and I think this is the telltale sign of a product with some potential, because you guys know I'm the least patient gamer ever. Now, I have to put this disclaimer right up front. If you're expecting chivalry or Mordhau combat, you're not gonna get it. Combat lacks the depth of medieval slasher games, as most classes have 1 or 2 attacks and then some abilities. I actually found this really interesting, but my chosen class, the Barbarian, cannot actually block enemy attacks, which felt pretty just frustrating and shit to play as. Combat, it's kind of slow and laboring right now. I felt like most fights I tried to just kind of hit, then use some footwork to avoid enemy strikes. While there is some skill to the combat, I'd say right now it feels like it's more about the numbers on your gear, especially in PvP, than player skill. Speaking of PvP combat, solo play is just in no way viable, which that's a bit of a disappointment since I enjoy playing games like this alone. But beating or escaping a group of 3 players, it seems just extremely difficult to near impossible. I'd love to see a shift to a more in-depth skill-based combat experience where gear can matter, but player skill has more of an influence in the outcome of a fight. Now, while I had an absolute blast in my play session with Dark and Darker, this is an alpha, and there of course are areas of growth. I think adding some kind of VoIP in the game should be a priority. Games like Rust or Tarkov just become so epic when you have interactions with other adventurers, whether it be forming alliances or noobs begging for mercy. Proximity chat would be absolutely amazing in this game. I will say one thing I found frustrating in Raid is how hard it is to heal your party. Bandages are expensive, they don't heal for much, and you're broke when you start out. This means many times you'll get into a quick PvP fight in Raid, get low on health, and you'll have no way of actually healing. I think making heals a little bit more available will help newer, less geared players survive more raids, and I don't think it'll really change the game's balance, as a geared squad will still whoop the new players anyway. And lastly, as I said above, I'd love to see the combat and classes have more to it. Swords clashing with blocks and parries, it just feels much better than tanking shots as a barbarian. We need more fluidity to the combat to keep it fun and engaging, because right now it's a weak point. The combat, it doesn't need to be chivalry levels of good, but it needs to be better than it currently is. Alright guys, that's it for me. I highly recommend wishlisting Dark and Darker. The game's super fun, and I don't give high praise out too often nowadays. Be sure to subscribe for more medieval content. Champ out.